So can we get started, please? Thank you. Okay, welcome councillors, officers and members of the public to this meeting of the council. Reminder to please switch your mobiles to silent. There are members of the public and press attending this meeting virtually. Please can I ask those attending virtually to switch off your microphone to avoid any disruption during the meeting. The meeting is being recorded and will be available in due course on the council's YouTube website. Reminder to councillors to ensure that those attending virtually and in person can hear the proceedings and for the recording to capture the entire meeting, please ensure that you wait for the microphone and speak clearly into the microphone. Please remember it is a formal meeting and therefore do not refer to each other by first names. When addressing the council, please stand if you are able to do so. There is no fire alarm planned, therefore upon hearing a constant two-tone alarm, please leave the building via your nearest marked fire exit to make your way downstairs to the nearest assembly point, which is a short stay car park. Lifts are not to be used. Please do not take time to pick up personal belongings and leave the building promptly. Apologies for absence.
Yes, thank you, Chair. We received the following apologies for absence from councillors Hayworth Booth, Spear, Renshaw, David Knight, Denton, and Councillor Davies is joining the meeting virtually, Chair.
To approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of July 2024, pages 13 to 24 of your packs. Do I have second? Councillor Aldridge. Item 3, Chair's announcements. A reminder. Oh, sorry, can we take a vote on the minutes, please? Abstention. Abstention. A reminder to all councillors to complete the box fish training on their iPads. Due to an increase in cybercrime and online scams, it is important that all councillors complete the training modules as soon as possible. If you haven't completed any to date, there are now 2 modules to complete. Each module will only take around 5 minutes to complete. And also, people are becoming a little bit lax in putting their apologies in. So could I remind you that if you are unable to attend a meeting that you have been summoned to attend, please give your apologies to member services as soon as you are able. Okay. Item 4, business brought forward with consent of the chair. We would like to seek approval to change the order of the agenda and consider item 7 before item 6 on the agenda, to allow for declarations of interest to be recorded before item 7. And a seconder, please. And going to have all those in favour. Item 7, declarations of interest. Right, Item 5 replies to any questions submitted by the public and or received petitions under Part 4 Council Procedures, paragraphs 8 and 9 of the Constitution.
None received, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, so now go to item 7, declarations of interest.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The following council have declared an interest for transparency reasons in item 6 on the agenda, which are the notices of motions regarding winter fuel allowance. So we received declarations from councillors Bell, Bishop, Bullard, Can, Lovering, Petrinos, Williams, Wilson and Warden, Chair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry, should I declare an interest first? My husband Joyce's pension. Okay. I just read the bus. Okay.
Member Bay.
Sorry,
Councillor Knight.
The senior.
Yeah, Councillor Knight was senior, Councillor Lane was senior, Councillor Wilkinson.
I just joined up.
Okay, the reason everyone's had to declare everything is item 6, to consider motions of which notice has been submitted by members in accordance with Part 4 Council Procedure Rules, paragraph 11 of the Constitution. Now, you'll notice that the two items that have been brought forward are very, very similar. And I would like to suggest that somebody makes an amendment to include paragraph 2 of Councillor Masker's motion in Councillor Bell's motion. So, Councillor Bell.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you want to use that? I don't mind. Too much. I thought that. Good evening. Bearing in mind that Councillor Clayton does like us to be brief, I will be very brief. We know what the subject is about. With the winter fuel crisis, the winter fuel allowance has been paused by the new incoming government as a reflection of the fact that they do have something of a problem to deal with in terms of the country's in a financial situation, and they are having to find money where they can. The unfortunate thing is that we currently have the existing fuel allowance was a bit of a band-aid covering over a poor system. Taking it away without having anything to replace it with is quite damaging, and is going to, especially in North Devon, where we have a preponderance of elderly people. We also have a preponderance of poor quality housing across the district. We are going to struggle in those areas. That's why what I've asked for today is, if you're in agreement, to ask Councillor Clayton to write to the government asking for them to consider pausing what they're doing at the moment in order to move forwards, and also if the group leaders could sign up to that letter to take that forward. It seems fairly obvious that this is something that needs to be done. I am aware of events today. I have kept up with them. We know that the party conference has suggested this is a poor motion and they should not be supporting this. Probably more powerful voices than our own have already spoken, but we do need to add our voice to that. So that's why I want to take that forward. I would also like to suggest that the council does what it can to mitigate the likelihood that this action will go ahead. We have a lot of pensioners in North Devon who are going to be affected by this, some much more so than others. We know that pensioners who receive pension credits will be protected from this, and they will receive something, but that is only around 10% of pensioners who are going to continue to receive this allowance. I'm grateful to the officers of the council who have already written to, I think, 280 people who don't currently receive pension credits but would be eligible for pension credits, and they are prompting them to take up their pension credits. Now, I'd also like to see what the council can do with regards to our housing support fund and whether we can utilise that in order to take things out, in order to protect more vulnerable people. This might include working pensioners who are topping up their pension, who are therefore not eligible for pension credits, and pensioners who are just over the border, which seems to be quite a lot of people in North Devon. If we can just see what we can do there, that would be fantastic. If I'm doing wrong.
Could you put through the amendment?
Yes, of course, and with great kindness. The second identical or nearly identical motion is also as good as mine. So there is an addition to that. The second part of that I think is valuable and we should take forward as well.
Councillor Peter Lever, I can see.
Thank you. I think it's a very good motion. I would like to propose a slight amendment to it, adding on something that Councillor Bell said. I think there's something that this council can do within the strictures of the Household Support Fund to help those pensioners who are just outside of the. Oh, thank you. To help pensioners who are just outside the limit for pension credit, but at the same time find themselves in positions of hardship. I think Councillor Maxwell in her motion brought up the issue of pensioners in rural areas quite often are using oil and solid fuel in living in farm workers' houses with no insulation and no double glazing, and they will be affected by this. So I'd like to propose a slight amendment to ask the council, perhaps through Strategy and Resources Committee, to look at how the Household Support Fund could be used to help some pensioners who fall just outside. Thank you.
Can I just ask, John?
Yeah, thank you, Chair and Councillor Lever. As already alluded to, obviously the council have written to those 280 customers who we know are eligible for pension credit, and obviously we've directly listened to all of those individually, encouraging them to take up the credit so that they will then become eligible for the winter fuel allowance. Quite rightly, we have got the Household Support Fund has been announced, Household Support Fund 6. We haven't got the finite detail yet in terms of the guidance that sits beneath that. We're expecting that this week, together also with details as to the allocation as to how much money that means also the Household Support Fund 6. Once we have that detail, we can then work through some modelled options for members to consider, but it would be positive to have a steer from members this evening that you're comfortable with the council moving forwards to look at that modelling to then bring something to Strategy and Resources for resolution as to how Household Support Fund 6 is allocated. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Caroline Lever, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to first of all thank those who put forward this motion in the first place, but I'd like to second the amendment that Councillor Peter Lever has made. Thank you.
Councillor Maxwell.
Thank you. I'm more than happy to have paragraph 2 of my much more concise questions added to this one. However, I would quite like to point out Councillor Bell has put that we thank our MP, which of course we do, and other Liberal Democrat MPs. Just like to point out that it was the Conservatives who brought about the motion in Parliament to block this bill. So I think it would be magnanimous if we could thank all the MPs rather than just the Liberal Democrat ones, and then I would be happy with it.
Councillor Bell, are you happy to take that amendment?
I think that's kindness, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Prowse.
Chairman, I've been nagged today by my friend who's the director of 361 Energy about this issue, but saying that it's not just about income, and I don't know whether, John, when we come to look at the hardship payments, whether we can look at people that are living in E, F and G houses as a priority and actually weight them. This is a winter fuel allowance, and it's those people, and I think it was referred to, people living in old property with single glazing and all the rest of it. So I just think that there is a way, we do know where they are, and 361 Energy, would be very keen that we actually make sure that we hit the people that are more vulnerable to winter, the winter fuel allowance being withdrawn. That is, the ones that will be more open to fuel poverty. Could we look at that as a weighting as well? I know it means a lot of extra work. I think it will make sure that we are targeting the real, because we're not going to be able to do all the people that are going to fall short here. But let's make sure we pick up the most vulnerable and the ones that are in most need.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Prowse. We can take that on board when we look at modelling options. Obviously, the options we have got available is we know where the line is drawn in terms of those that are eligible for pension credit. We then know how many pensioners are then just over the threshold in terms of like £10 a week over, £20 a week over, etc. So those that are obviously on the lowest incomes,
That's regardless of what council tax band those people live in. So obviously we can model some options based on those lowest incomes that fall just short of the pension credit threshold, regardless of what level of council tax band they live in. Thank you, Chair.
About the energy efficiency.
Sorry, the energy efficiency band.
Ken?
Thank you, Chair. Can I just clarify something? We've got quite a few amendments flying around. Is Councillor Bell taking on board all of those amendments as part of the motion?
Yes.
In which case we don't have to do lots of votes on amendments. But can I just clarify the main amendment? Because point 3 of the original motion was to urgently commence a significant awareness campaign through all available media to maximise uptake of pension credits. And the amendment that's been taken on board is to write to the Secretary of State asking for funding to enable us to do that. We have done that already. And so I'm a little bit confused as to.
Paragraph 2 in this council notes about pensioners living in less energy efficient housing. Was that not that wasn't what you were referring to? You were referring to paragraph 2 of the resolve.
Yeah, it was paragraph 2 of the resolve. It was more to put in to write to the Secretary of State for Housing, as well as the Secretary of State, as well as the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Apologies, I thought.
I mean, if
but no, I'm happy with that.
Then I think we just need a bit of clarity over that, because writing to the Secretary of State asking for funding to carry out a public awareness campaign is fine, but we'll probably undermine our argument for funding if we've already done it. And as I said, we have written to those 280, or as John said, we've written to those 280 people that haven't yet qualified for, or haven't yet applied for pension credit, that could do. And we've also highlighted the ability to apply for that through social media, etc. So we have done that social awareness campaign already, but there is a bit of a conflict between the two there. One is saying we will do the awareness campaign as soon as this motion is passed, and the other one is saying right to government asking for funding to enable us to do it. So I think we just need a bit of clarity over that.
Yeah. Well spotted. It strikes me that the point made by Malcolm, I think, is the point that Councillor Maskell was trying to pick up in her council notes that. So, does that make sense? So, if Malcolm's words can be drawn around thing 2, I think we're still at the point where we can agree that this is all the same amendment, I think.
yeah, so the bit that we actually want to put in is writing to the Secretary of State for Housing with the Secretary of State for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, plus in the wording we want to include that pensioners living in less energy efficient housing should be supported. Yeah.
But what are you going to write to Secretary of State about? I think that's what you've got to
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit negative. I'm going to be a little bit negative about this because, as I said, there's no point us writing to the Secretary of State asking for funding to carry out a social awareness campaign when we've already done that social awareness campaign. We're not going to get anywhere with that, so it's a waste of effort, really. But if the amendment is to bring in the first paragraph 2, which is about rural properties, and as John outlined, when we go back to stretching resources with the Household Support Fund scheme, then we can address that as part of that scheme. So we can take on board that as part of that, I think.
We all know what we're voting.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Councillor Lovering, please.
Regarding what you're saying about a campaign to let people know whether or not they are entitled to pension top-ups, there needs to be more of a campaign about what benefits everybody should receive. I have looked after my parents for 5 years. I've pushed my father around in a wheelchair. He was diagnosed last year with Parkinson's. Since then, 2 weeks ago, I was told about assisted living allowance. Both my parents are entitled to it. We were told we were entitled to a stair lift. We were told we were entitled to loft insulation. Nobody knew. Nobody has ever told us what we were entitled to. There should be a campaign for older people, for people with wheelchairs, for people with mobility issues, say this is what you're entitled to. Because nobody has any idea. I had never heard of assistance allowance ever. Thank you.
Lovely. Can I suggest that you bring that as a motion to next council?
I suggest that you speak to officers before that, because we'll be able to outline exactly what we have done. We're working with Age Concern and other bodies as well to try and raise awareness. So if you have a word with officers beforehand, and if you feel there are any gaps, then a motion to full council might be appropriate.
Councillor Lane.
Can we just have a bit of word from our chief exec so we can move this motion forward so we can move on side as possible, please?
I think, Councillor Bell will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the motion now is as set out in Councillor Bell's, in the papers on the agenda sheets for Councillor Bell's motion, but also incorporating what Councillor Peter Lever referred to, which was about using the Household Support Fund to see if we can assist pensioners, and also incorporating the element of Councillor Maskell's motion, which was to also look at the Household Support Fund to see if we can help those living in those rural properties which are very low energy efficient. All right, just, yeah, very low energy efficiency properties. I'm thinking all MPs that voted against, presumably.
Councillor Biederman, please.
Not sure I'm helping, but I think Ken wants because I mean it is fantastic what we've done with our campaign letters and things, but can we be a bit more positive with keep that in there, but rather than saying recognise the excellent work that the council have already taken now and continue to advertise and push the fact that people to apply for the what's the word for it? So just change that wording there to continue and to encourage people to take up the allowance should they be eligible for it. I mean, really, what we need to be doing is not attacking, but promoting it to their children and grandchildren and people like that who can help them. Because it's great that we've written to the 280 people, but it's those that are just above that line and how we get to them.
Councillor Room.
Can I just ask, because this came up at another meeting that I was at, are we one of the only councils that have written out to people? Because some of the other councils, district councils that were at this particular meeting I was at, they hadn't done this. So what I'm trying to say is, well done, North Devon Council, for writing out and informing people that they might be able to be claim pension credit so they can continue to get winter fuel payment. Are you aware of other councils doing this?
Can I ask Ken?
Obviously, we've been as proactive as we can be to write out to the 280 we're aware of. I'm not aware of other councils that have. I know they've been pushing advertising the social media campaigns, but whether they've been directly writing out, I'm not aware.
But well done, North Devon Council. Thank you.
I've just been told Devon County Council have raised this as a good example. We've had correspondence with them around the Household Support Fund, and they've been engaging with the other district councils, and they've used North Devon Council as an example of good practice.
Councillor Room, you want to say something else?
Yes.
That meeting was the meeting that I was at, and I brought that up about North Devon, and Councillor Maskell backed me up on this. You know, that North Devon, we did this at Devon County Council, and I just thought, why don't other district councils do this in Devon? So well done, North Devon Council. And if you're listening, Alison Stevenson, online, make sure you make us sound really good in North Devon. Thank you.
Okay, can I pass back to Councillor Bell now, please?
Thank you very much. I just want to throw two points so I don't irritate Councillor Lane too much. With regard to funding, writing to the Secretary for funding, that's very laudable. But as Popular Show says, winter is coming. I worry that if we write too many people, it's great that we're going to write to the Secretary and ask to pause this, but that's as an aside, we need to be moving now and a little bit faster because it is coming to the end of September. And we are soon going to be getting into the colder months where these things are going to matter more and more. I fear that the Secretary of State for Housing, Community and Local Government might not be so favourable towards us, and we could spend a lot of time waiting for a response if we don't take faster action through SNR, which I imagine will be meeting at the beginning of the month. My final point, and I will be quick because I'm aware that I'm apparently very wordy, is that the end of my resolution was just that we're all councillors, we all go to parish and town meetings quite regularly. I know that Braunton has an excellent food bank, has excellent support networks. We need to be making sure our parishes and towns are out there and doing their thing. So when we go and meet them in the next couple of weeks, if we can just remember, and I'm sure we will, to just prompt the fact that our local council, our local parish and town councils can do a lot. And I'm sure they are doing a lot, but let's just thank them for that.
Okay, so we have a mover in Councillor Bell. Can I ask Councillor Maskell, can you second that, please? And all those in favour? Thank you. That vote is carried. Thank you. Okay, item 8, advice any questions to council by members submitted under Part 4 Council Procedures Rules, paragraph 10 of the Constitution.
None received, Chair.
Number 9 is to agree the agenda between Part A and Part B. There is no Part B. Number 10, the report to the Leader of the Council. I hope people had a chance to read this, and I thank Councillor Peyton for his report. I believe he has a couple of others.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, in the interest of brevity, I'll take what I've written and read. Happy to answer questions afterwards, but just as an addition, a couple of points. Councillor Pete Lever and myself met up with some of the leading police officers in North Devon, which was a very informative meeting, wasn't it, Councillor Lever?
Yes.
And quite impressed with them, actually. From that, I mean, if we can keep some coming up, but we're talking about the possibility of North Devon Council, when the budget comes through, possibly looking into employing more street marshals, which has worked so well in Barnstaple and got such good success rates, really, particularly amongst business people. Possible extension of CCTV as well. So we haven't committed to that, we just said it's a possibility, and they said that they would welcome any moves along those lines. I also met with the new principal, is it called, of PETROC, which was good. But Ken Miles and myself, I think, expressed thoughts that many people have said about, where is PETROC now? What's its vision? Where's it going? I think we were impressed with him, actually. I think he seems to realise the problems they're facing, and hopefully things will start to improve there. But it's a bit of a watch this space thing. We also met with, I don't know if you're all aware of this, but next March, every March time, we're going to have this peer review coming in, which is basically the LGA having, there'll be political representation from a different authority, officer representation, and they come in and we've said, look at us all, warts and all, and just tell us how we're doing. So that's going to be, I think it's March, that's going to, it was initially February, it's going to be March. They wanted to know what we wanted to focus on, and I personally said, well, something about governance would be good. And from that, I think they're going to send another couple of people to us to look at the aspect of governance. Personally, I think it goes well at the moment, not Devon Council, but there are improvements, like any organisation, can be made. And one of those, I personally, so I'm not speaking for North Devon Council here, think the area of scrutiny could be much improved. Whether that be a separate committee or not, I'm not making any decisions on that, that's up to members to help decide on that. But I do think there could be improvements made there, where specific areas such as recycling is addressed at a committee stage. Specific questions can be asked. It might be that we think we can do that already, but personally, I've spoken to a few councillors. Maybe if that's the case, then we need to perhaps tension up in some way. So they will come and perhaps advise on what they suggest could be improvements to be made. I also met with Animal Tape today because he's come up with the idea of having some kind of members committee, development committee. Not quite clear exactly what I would be looking at, but I've asked him to invite all members. He talked about members' room, he talked about members' consultation, about any ideas you've got to improve the way council is run. So that should be coming into your email boxes from Animal Tape. He suggested at first we just have 2 or 3 from each grouping, but I said no, well, open it up to everybody. So I hope you will make use of that. If you have got any concerns, that's the sort of place we can bring them up. It wouldn't be a monthly thing, it would perhaps be 2 or 3 months where ideas and thoughts can be brought up. I think that's basically it since I wrote the report. If there's any questions, I should take any questions. Thanks, Chair.
Yes, that's not really a question.
Solution? Yeah. I mean, we've had, in the report itself, we've mentioned about the devolution aspect. Since then, unfortunately, in my opinion, the Labour government have come out with this statement that they're going to go ahead with the previous government's devolution proposals. Now, 2 things there. There's a lack of democracy involved in that, as we know already. District council leaders have mourned and complained about that, but that we haven't got what we wanted them to do there. So there's still going to be a lack of democracy there in the decision-making process. However, hopefully it does still come with this, am I right in saying it's £16 million overall for the whole of Devon, which can be used, and hopefully we will carry on to use that to help alleviate housing within North Devon itself. Specifics to be worked out, but that was supposed to be spent by March. I don't think that we've had anything to say that's going to change it. They could extend that, which would be good, but I think we're confident we could spend our allocation of that money before March. Is that okay?
Questions for the leader? Councillor Maskell.
Thank you. The leader made reference in his report to Devon County Council's financial mismanagement. Is he aware that Devon County Council is still paying back the £600 million debt left by the previous Liberal Democrat administration in 2009, a debt which is costing the county £40 million per year in interest alone, a debt which cannot be paid off in full until March 2027. That is £40 million per year over 18 years. It's an awful lot of money, which could have been spent on services. And I just think that making a comment about financial mismanagement is perhaps not the best. Thanks.
Can I take, sorry, let Councillor Clayton.
I don't know whether that was a question. It was the question, am I aware? Yes. I am aware that the Devon County Council has totally mismanaged its finances for the last decade or so under Conservative rule. I mean, if the problem was so great when you inherited the administration from the Liberal Democrats, why was it you gave all councillors a 15% pay rise?
Yes.
I mean, how deplorable. What a state you inherit.
what you say was a problem. And then the first thing you do is put the money not into services, but to give money to councillors like Councillor Crabb, a 15% pay rise. Where on earth, what on earth were you thinking when you did that? That's perhaps symptomatic of the kind of ways that the Devon Conservative administration has run Devon to the detriment of its residents, unfortunately. And come next May, hopefully they'll get exactly what they deserve and kicked out.
Councillor Crabb.
Thank you, Chair. I think most residents of North Devon would prefer this council concentrated a little bit more on doing stuff for North Devon. Arguing the stop, if we're talking minutiae, the 15% increase, I think, come after about 3 or 4 years with no increase. So it was recommended by some committee or whatever. The reason that you can question anything that's going on within the council and the fact that you think we need a scrutiny committee is because the lead members aren't available for questioning. You say that you've got a process in place to sort that. If you have, then that might take a little bit, I think. Those councillors that have been here for a few years will remember the honourable member for Brannington being questioned robustly on the recycling matters. And from all sides. I mean, he got a fair rough guide from the Conservatives as well. But he was put on the spot and he had to know his answers and he had to know how many bin lorries he had and he had to know what was late. So that was when you questioned lead members. The fact that, I mean, bless him, Councillor Bell at least has shown his face tonight, but we don't know who's doing what's going on. It's only John Triggs that tells us anything.
Can I just correct Councillor Crabb's statement? It was the member for Bickington, not the member for Framington.
Chair, can I move with that?
Yeah.
Yes. Councillor Beekman, do you still want to speak? Yeah.
Not just saying. What I'm replying to, it wasn't a question. Was it a question? Was your question who are the lead members? It wasn't clear. Are you asking who the lead members are?
I was helping you in your previous answer, which I felt was erroneous.
So you do know who the lead members are?
This council doesn't, anyone on the screen doesn't, do
I'm sorry, could we?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Could we move to Councillor Beekman, please?
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. I do think we're getting a bit confused a little bit because we've run a very different council than we did when Councillor Crabb is referring to. I'm really proud. We're a collaborative council. We're a little bit disappointed in some of what's going on here, but the reality is now, before when the lead members of Councillor Crabb refers to, once you got to 21 or 22 councillors, that group took all the places on the cabinet, all the places lead member roles. Now actually we've got a cross-party working together.
Here.
So everybody comes to every single meeting and all sides have a voice. So I think, I wanted to pick up that. And I think that the policy, I think the policy committee can scrutinise whatever area they want to. And so I think I think it's down to us as members really to make sure that we take advantage of the voice that we give by the way that we now set up governance of the council. And I think we're all guilty of that at times when we don't go and go. I think in the leaders' report, it's really refreshing to see that as of November, the lead members will report to council 2 on a basis, which is very much similar to the system that's just been set at Devon County Council, where lead members will come and deliver reports. I think it actually is a really good step forward. And I think, we're a credit really, and the committee system is very different to the old system. But sorry, I didn't answer your question then, David.
That was a sensible interlude, shall we say. The idea of the lead members giving a report to full council, detailing what they've done, and then taking questions as well, I personally think is a sensible way forward. And then Councillor Grant can find out who the lead members are as well.
Councillor Peter Lever, did you still want to say something?
Yep. Just
quickly, and not at all political, but the last paragraph of Councillor Clayton's report refers to the car park working group, which I know was mooted in.
Sorry, Councillor Lee, that's coming up under the next item.
Is it in the leaders' report? I would.
Is that?
Okay. Sorry.
So if we can move to note the report, Councillor Prowse has moved. And Councillor Lane seconded. Councillor Lee, would you like to ask your question now, please?
There we are. I just wondered if there was an update on the progress of the car park working group, and if it, I think the intention was that this was going to be a cross-party group. It's not a political issue, but I know that not all the groups in the council have yet put forward members. I wondered if there was an update on that. We've got a working party in place yet.
Unfortunately, I don't think there has been a development yet. This, to put members into context of what went on here, I think Councillor Maskell it was who raised this very important point back in July at the SNR meeting. And I suggested then that we set up a working party to look into the issues, problems, concerns over all car parking arrangements throughout North Devon. I even suggested perhaps Councillor Maskell would like to be chair of that committee, and it should be an all-party thing. Since then, the leaders have been asked to put forward, because this was all going to feed into the budget setting, for the benefits of local people. As Councillor Crowbrandy said, we should be doing things for the benefits of local people. However, despite me writing to Councillor Pratt on the 11th of September, there was still no reply. He's been contacted by member services by telephone and by email over and over again, still no reply. So perhaps Councillor Pratt would like to explain why he's not put forward any Conservative members. Maybe Councillor Maskell doesn't think car parking in Croyd is such a big issue now than when she raised it back in July. I think it probably is. And if it is, then she's probably going to agree with me that her group leader should have put her name forward by now. That's the situation we're at, Councillor Reader.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Chair. Just to suggest, if that's okay, that I imagine we would have 6 members at the moment, and possibly Councillor Maskell as well. That would be a quorum group. Can we not just move forward? Because parking seems to matter to some people, seems to be very important. So could we not just move forward, start the group, and then allow people to join as need to be?
Councillor Crowe.
Yeah, this smooth way that the council is operating, where we're all working together on the same team, is working very well. Can I point out that in Bev's inbox is the names of Councillor Maskell and Councillor Quinn? Thank you.
That's great to hear. So we can get the car parking working group started as soon as we. Right. Anyway, let's move on. Item 12, performance and financial management, Q1 2024-25. Pass to Don Clayton.
Thank you, Chair. Item A is the report for policy and development, so I'll pass over to Councillor Petrinos, and then obviously pass over to the leader for the report for strategy and resources, but I'm also happy to take any questions on the report that you've got in front of you.
Yeah, I just ask members to note the recommendation, the resolution of the policy committee of September.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've lost my page here. This is the SNR meeting, just to ask members to accept the recommendation. Yeah, I'll do that.
Councillor Bush has moved. Can I have a second? Councillor Knight. Thank you. All those in favour? Okay. Item 13, Local Government Association Coastal Special Interest Group, 17th and 19th of September 2024. Councillor Wilkinson, lead member for coastal communities, to report. Thank you, Councillor Wilkinson.
As lead member for the coastal issues, one of my remits is to be a member of the LGA Coastal Issues Group, SIG Group, and this is a nationwide, there are over 50 different authorities, coastal authorities that are members. There are 4 meetings per year, 2 of them are online, one is face-to-face in London, and the 4th is the annual general meeting. When I attended last year's annual general meeting, the chairman, who comes from South Tyneside, actually asked if we would be prepared to host this year's AGM and study visit. It's a 3-day programme. I put it together with the help of Bev, and it was basically about what we've done, what we're doing, and what we still need to do in North Devon. And the programme took place actually over, as I said, 3 days. The first day we spent in Woolacombe, and we looked there at some of the positive things that were going on in our beautiful authority. But presentations by the National Trust on the excellent rewilding programme that they're undertaking down there. There was another presentation followed by the recent award to North Devon as a North Devon World Surfing Reserve, which has a great effect on the economy of North Devon. Surfing is a massive input to the economy. There was a resume of the season's work by the RNI lifeguards, and then I thought it would be good to look at private investment, how private investment is working and is going to work. And there was a presentation by the Managing Director of Parking Estates, who, as you know, own Woolacombe Beach, and their projected £3.5 to £4 million programme to rebuild the Beach Cove and Cafe, which is a massive investment. Following that, our own Jamie James gave a wonderful presentation on the CLT that is going ahead in Woolacombe, and we visited the Ilfracombe site as well, because there are problems obviously with affordability, housing affordability for people that are born in our area. I don't need to repeat the problems, but there are 2 very exciting schemes, and we are at the forefront of the CLT, I believe, in the county. We've got more CLTs than anyone else. And we finished the Tuesday, and if you've not been there, you really must go to the Tunnels Beaches, because it is an absolutely phenomenal success story for private investment. And you would be excited. I mean, when I was a Barney lad, my mother used to take me there every day for swimming, and it's nothing like it is now. It is an enormous worldwide venue for weddings. So really well worth looking. The following day was based in Ilfracombe, and our harbour master, Georgia Carlo Pat, met with everybody at the new water sports centre and explained the water sports centre. And we walked down through the harbour. She explained the workings of the harbour, the problems with the listing on the old quay head, and obviously Verity looking up at Danton Hill and the oldest working lighthouse in the country. And we went back then to the Yacht Club for a series of presentations there. Dominique Dunbrook gave a massive publication of the regeneration of what's going on in Ilfracombe and what is still planned. And it was backed up by two really enlightening speeches, one by the head teacher at Ilfracombe Junior School about the problems with education, with the fact that in the region of 50% of the children at Ilfracombe Junior School are on the special needs register, that the deprivation in the two main wards in Ilfracombe are causing all sorts of problems, kids coming to school ill prepared for education because they've not eaten, the fact that parents are struggling to keep two ends together is a real problem. And this was then followed by Andrea Beecham from the NHS talking about the health problems in Ilfracombe and what goes on there. So you can see it wasn't just about all that is good, it was about really what we still need to do. And these problems, in fact, are nationwide, they're not just here in North Devon. And the beauty of having this conference was that it was appreciated and that the input came from around the country, as I said, from the northeast, from the northwest, right down to Kent and Sussex, etc. So nationwide, the input was all the same. We need to do something. That the levelling up process just isn't level. But what really came through was the reiteration, the reinforcement of the fact that at the highest level, we need a dedicated minister for the coast. That at Parliament, there should be somebody who is representing our views, and I'm saying ours as a nationwide. There is the APPG Coastal Communities Group, which I am delighted to say our MP has put his name down and is a very popular committee now. It's got a lot of people going in. So we are going to be represented at the highest level rather than just shouting our case, our corner down here in one of the smallest authorities in our area. So a very important outcome from this. And I have to say, on a personal level, to finish it was a lot of work, but I couldn't have done it without the help of Bev. Bev was absolutely fantastic on this one. So please record my thanks to Bev for this, and the terrific inputs of our officers who are really spot on, really astute, really keyed up on the issues. So thank you. That was the report back. I'm sorry there weren't pictures, but this was only last week. Otherwise you would have had pictures. And the sun shone for 3 days. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Clayton.
Sorry, well, that's up there. Councillor Wilkinson, thank you very much. We live and are lucky to live in such a beautiful coastal area, probably the most beautiful in the whole United Kingdom. But we're also lucky and privileged, I would say, to have such a fantastic advocate of that in you, Malcolm. And I'll say Malcolm because I wanted to make it less formal. My thanks to you as lead member for this. You are formidable. You are the most knowledgeable person I know in regard to coastal issues in North Devon. So, and I know from feedback I've received already what an excellent job you did in those beautiful days that you had with people from the United Kingdom in beautiful part of North Devon. So thank you very much. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody on North Devon Council. And thank you to the officers as well. So thank you, Malcolm.
Councillor Caroline Lever. It's just okay, that's Councillor Jones.
Can I just echo those thanks for the report? And I'm sure Councillor Wilson showed
Councillor Jones, could you stand up and use my microphone, please?
Sorry, I'll stand up. Thank you so much for the report and what you're doing on the issues. I hope you won't mind me using the opportunity to remind everybody that on the 3rd of November is the March for Clean Water in London. And I do hope that Councillor Wilkinson, our MP and our leader, will come and join me in London to protest on the issues and the importance of clean seas, reducing pollution on our rivers and beaches. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Yeah, if I'm available, I'll be there. But can I also say that in next month, I can't remember the exact date now, but next month I'm attending an LGA baby water conference in Kings Lynn, which will be attended by various water authorities, and it's an LGA attack on what they're not doing.
Yeah.
Councillor Rickenhite.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And just following on from that, I was going to say this, but there will be a local march as well on the very same as during the very same day. And at the moment, it seems to be based in Bideford, but keep your eyes and ears open. Carbon footprint, I can't get to London.
Okay, if we just note, Councillor Wilkinson's excellent report. Thank you.
Yeah.
Item 14, amendments to outside body appointments. If members are happy, I'd like to take these on block. Councillor Shaw.
I'm sure there's a precedent for the leader getting all of these positions. I'd hate for him to be overworked because he apparently is doing so much, and I believe he also voted himself a pay rise. But for item 14B, I believe that we have one councillor who stands above all of the rest on their own merit for this, and that would be Councillor Peter Jones. So I'd like to put him forward for that.
Okay, councillors, we'll be taking these as individual.
I'm sorry, Chair, I'm going to have to interject here. Could Councillor Bushell, as a matter of clarification, explain what he means by reporting for myself a pay rise?
As a councillor.
As a councillor.
I believe the recorded vote had you down as those in four, just as having a pay rise.
Do you mean when he was voted on last year?
It's been within your term.
Yeah, not a 15% now. We kept it at the lowest level.
Councillors, could we please not argue on the council floor?
You don't want to argue because you might get yourself.
Councillors, can I just bring it to order a little bit, please? The item on the agenda is to appoint members to the outside bodies. And if the question is who would ordinarily be appointed to these bodies, then I can confirm that A, Devon Districts Forum, the leader would ordinarily be appointed to that. The Growth Board, I'm not sure about. North Devon Plus would ordinarily be the leader, and One Ilford Coombe could be any member. So that's the item on the agenda. We're not discussing councillors' allowances tonight. That's not on the agenda. So let's keep off that subject and stick on the subject, please.
Chair, point of order.
Sorry, Councillor Rouse, could you just wait for the microphone? Sorry.
I'll shout, sorry. The Growth Board hasn't, to my knowledge, met in the last 6 or 7 years. So I just wonder whether it's worth carrying forward with the nomination. I was actually the council's last representative before Ian, but I don't know, Ian, if you've ever been to any meetings, so I don't think it's existed for 6 or 7 years. I don't think it exists.
Chair, I'm happy to do that one then.
Councillor Caroline Lever.
Thank you. I can't speak to what's happened with the Growth Board in the past, but with the combined authorities that has now come forward, and I think we all agree that that's a massive wasted opportunity by the Labour government to improve what was put in place by the Conservatives to concentrate power into 6 people rather than actually provide real inclusion. But we know that within that, one of the main agendas within the combined authority is going to be growth, it's going to be skills, and actually it may well be that it's sensible for us to appoint our leader to that body so that as and when that body does meet, he's actually there already in place. So I would absolutely be supporting that.
Okay, councillor Jones, you'd like to speak.
I thank Councillor Bushell for the nomination, but I'd like to decline that nomination.
Okay, can we go back to taking these on block that councillor Clayton is nominated for the 4 roles? If he's councillor moved by councillor Roon, seconded by councillor Bell. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Item 15, Harbour Board appointment of an additional member.
Do I move Councillor John Petrinos?
All those in favour? Against? No abstentions, thank you. Item 16, change of date of future council meeting, April 2025, which is the annual council meeting. Consider whether to change the date of the meeting of council that was scheduled to be held on Wednesday the 30th of April 2025 at 6:30 p.m. to be held on Wednesday the 23rd of April instead, as the original date is the day before the county council elections. We have a proposer in Councillor Bushell, secondary in Councillor York. All those in favour? Unanimous. Item 17, update to constitution of the delegated powers of the Harbour Board. Can I pass that over to Simon for this, please? And Councillor Norman as well.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this was just a report to the governance committee where we propose to appoint the Harbour Board to be able to appoint a committee of harbour users to be able to pursue the harbour revision of order that's been put in place, and so the constitution just allows the changes to the constitution just allows the Harbour Board to be able to make those appointments. This committee isn't a committee of councillors, and it's just harbour users, and it's it will allow the Harbour Board to have due consideration to their views in how the harbour's run. So I'll just pass to Councillor Norman to.
Thank you, President. Working? Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move agenda item 17, update constitution of delegated powers to the Harbour Board. It's the extract of the meeting held 2 days ago, 23rd of September 2024.
Second.
Councillor Crowe.
Thank you, Chair. I'm assuming by your mention of the Harbour Revision Order, this is the resurrection of the Harbour Forum, which was a requirement of the Harbour Revision Order, am I right? Does that mean, because the Harbour Forum sort of faded away due to I think the fishermen stopped coming when they realised it wasn't in a pub anymore. So, joking aside, membership fell away. It was felt that it wasn't really doing very much. It wasn't achieving very much. It was, they turn up, have a pint, go home. So, whatever happens now, that's going to have to be avoided somehow. Good luck. I don't know. But the amusing thing is, of course, if it was a legal requirement, does that mean that every decision taken in the last 3 years has been ultra virus? So.
Yeah, okay, we've had a mover in Councillor Norman, seconded by Councillor Room. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, item 18, minutes of committees. I would like to take these on block if everybody's happy to do so.
Not good, maybe.
Yeah, seconder, Councillor Maskell. All those in favour? Thank you. And thank you, councillors, for your attendance. That was